It starts with a dream you can't explain. You wake up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, your chest heavy with some feeling you don't have words for. Maybe you were walking through a forest with no end, or standing in front of an ancient door that wouldn't open. Maybe there was a voice that said something that made no sense at the time, but shook something deep inside you. And for days, that dream haunts you. Not like a nightmare, but like a secret you forgot you were meant to remember. When we're in a spiritual crisis, our conscious mind often goes numb. We move through our days like ghosts, pretending everything is okay. But the soul never sleeps. And when the conscious mind shuts down, the subconscious begins to scream. It speaks in symbols, in metaphors, in scenes that don't follow the logic of this world. Dreams become the language of the soul's emergency broadcast. They are not random. They are sacred. We don't talk enough about how spiritual awakenings don't always happen in temples or during meditation. Sometimes they begin in a dream that leaves you trembling. A dream where you die and are reborn. A dream where you lose everything, including your name, your face, your memories, and yet somehow feel more alive than ever. These are not just dreams. These are initiations. And if you've had them, you are not broken. You are being called.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
In spiritual crisis, dreams often become more vivid, more strange, more persistent. You may find yourself returning to the same landscape night after night, a crumbling city, a vast desert, an ocean that pulls you under. You may meet beings who don't look human but feel more familiar than your own family. You may hear phrases that make no sense in your waking life, but echo in your bones as truth. Why does this happen? Because your soul is trying to bypass your logical mind to get a message through. And sometimes, only dreams can carry that message. One of the most common dreams during spiritual crisis is the falling dream. You plummet from the sky, from a building, into a void. And just before you hit the ground, you wake up. This is not just fear. This is your soul showing you the collapse of everything you thought was stable. It's the death of the illusion. The free fall is terrifying, yes, but it's also necessary. Because only when your feet are no longer touching the world you thought was real, can you begin to trust the ground of your own being. Have you ever had a dream where you were lost in a huge house with endless rooms, each one stranger than the last? You keep opening doors, going deeper, knowing you're searching for something but unsure what. That is not just a dream. That is your psyche mapping out your inner world. Each room is a part of you you've forgotten, denied, or locked away. And the deeper you go, the closer you come to the center, the part of you that remembers who you really are. During spiritual crises, we often dream of people we haven't seen in years, old friends, ex-lovers, even ancestors. Sometimes they appear in strange forms or speak with voices that don't belong to them. This is your soul reconnecting threads that were left undone. It's not about the person, it's about the energy. What part of yourself did you give away in that relationship? What wound was never closed? What lesson was never integrated? These dreams are not about nostalgia. They are about healing. And then there are the dreams that feel more real than waking life. You wake up in tears or laughing, or with a sense of clarity that no book or video could ever give you. Maybe you were in a temple surrounded by light. Maybe you were holding someone's hand and knew you were safe. Maybe you were flying, or glowing, or dissolving into stars. These dreams are not fantasy, they are memory, not of this life, but of your soul's truth. And in moments of crisis, the soul pulls back the veil to remind you, you are more than this. Have you ever had a dream where you were being chased, but you didn't know by what? Where no matter how fast you ran, it was always right behind you. That's the shadow, not evil, not demonic. Just the part of you you've been afraid to face. The guilt, the shame, the truth you didn't want to see. In spiritual crisis, the shadow comes alive in dreams because it wants to be seen. It wants to be healed, and running only delays the inevitable. What would happen if, in that dream, you turned around and faced it? Sometimes in a spiritual crisis, we dream of endings, apocalypses, floods, fire, destruction. These aren't predictions, they're reflections. The destruction of your old self, your old beliefs, your old life. And though they feel terrifying, they're also liberating. Because after destruction comes creation. After death comes rebirth. And waking up from that dream, even in a cold sweat, is the soul's way of saying, it's time. There's a special kind of dream that comes not during crisis, but right after a breakthrough. You may have cried for days, meditated for hours, screamed into the void, and then, suddenly you dream of light, or of peace, of a wise being who simply places their hand on your chest and says, "You're doing great." These are not hallucinations. These are messages, encouragements, reminders that you are not alone, that something greater sees you, and it's proud. But how do we know which dreams are real and which are just imagination? The answer is simple: how they make you feel. A spiritual dream doesn't leave you confused. It leaves you altered. It stays with you. It changes how you see the world. And even if you don't understand it right away, something deep in you knows it mattered. That's how you know. Your soul remembers. If you're in a spiritual crisis right now, start writing your dreams down. Even if they make no sense. Even if they're disturbing or silly or fragmented. There are patterns in the chaos, symbols that repeat, messages hidden in the strange. Over time, you'll begin to decode them. You'll see that your soul has been speaking the whole time. You just didn't know the language yet. And don't be surprised if your dreams start guiding you to places, people, or practices. You may dream of a mountain and weeks later feel an urge to go hiking. You may dream of water and suddenly start craving solitude or emotional release. You may dream of an old book and one day find it in a second-hand shop with exactly the words you needed. This is not coincidence. This is guidance. And it begins when you start listening. What if the most important teacher you will ever meet is not on YouTube, not in a temple, not in a retreat, but in your dreams? What if the deepest truths of your life are being whispered to you every night, and you've just been too distracted to hear them? What if your soul has never stopped trying to reach you, and tonight it will try again? There comes a point in every spiritual crisis where waking life begins to blur with the dream world. You find yourself carrying emotions from your dreams into your day: sadness that has no name, joy that has no cause, fear that has no source. This is not madness. This is the veil thinning. The soul, desperate to be heard, begins to speak louder in the only space it knows how to reach you, the in-between. And when you're in crisis, you are closer to the in-between than you've ever been. You're cracked open, and light and truth leaks through those cracks. Dreams during spiritual crisis often feel like riddles wrapped in emotion. You may dream of climbing an endless staircase, only to find yourself back where you started, or trying to speak and no sound comes out, or watching yourself from outside your body. These are not just dreams, they are messages encoded in metaphor. The staircase may be your endless striving. The silence may be your fear of expressing your truth. The out-of-body vision might be showing you how disconnected you've become from your authentic self. The soul doesn't speak in logic, it speaks in symbols. And every symbol is a mirror. Have you ever dreamed of being underwater, struggling to breathe? That's not just anxiety. That's your soul telling you you're drowning in your own mind. That you've gone too deep into the thoughts, the fears, the roles, and forgotten how to float. And sometimes, the dream ends just before you find the surface. Not to scare you, but to wake you. To remind you that you're not supposed to be gasping for air in your own life. You're supposed to be swimming in freedom. Many people in spiritual crisis report dreams of losing their teeth, or standing naked in public, or being unprepared for an exam. These dreams are not random, they are deeply symbolic. Losing teeth often represents the loss of identity or power. Being exposed reflects vulnerability, the stripping away of ego. The exam is your own inner judgment, your fear of not being enough. These dreams don't come to punish you. They come to show you what you're carrying. And ask, are you ready to let it go? You may find yourself dreaming of animals, and not just any animals, but specific ones that return again and again. A snake slithering through your bed. A lion watching you from the shadows. A bird trapped in a cage. These creatures are not just parts of your imagination. They're archetypes. The snake is transformation, shedding the old. The lion is courage, waiting to be claimed. The bird is your soul, longing to be free. What would happen if instead of fearing them, you spoke to them? What would they say? There are moments in these dreams that feel like real conversations. A stranger turns to you and says something cryptic, something simple, something unforgettable. You're not who you think you are. It's time to come home. You already know. And you wake up with those words echoing, not knowing what they mean, but knowing they mean everything. These are not just lines of dream dialogue. These are instructions, keys, clues. And if you write them down, if you sit with them, they will open doors inside you that you didn't know existed. Spiritual crisis activates archetypal energy, the energy of the mystic, the seeker, the wounded healer. And in dreams, these archetypes often appear as otherworldly figures, an old man with glowing eyes, a woman in white, a child who seems to know too much. These figures are not just figments. They are expressions of your own inner wisdom, taking form so you can finally listen. And if you ask them questions in the dream, they often answer in ways that change your life. But you must be willing to receive. Have you ever dreamed of dying not in terror, but in peace? Of watching your body dissolve, or turning into light, or walking through a door and not looking back? This is not a fear dream. This is a rebirth dream. It means you are shedding an old self, an old life, an old identity. The ego sees it as death, but the soul sees it as freedom. When you wake from a dream like that, you may feel lighter. You may cry. You may feel like something was taken, and it was, but only what you no longer needed. Some of the most mysterious dreams in spiritual crisis are the ones that seem to predict, to reveal, to guide. You see someone in a dream, and the next day they call you. You dream of a place you've never been, and then find it in a photo. You receive instructions in a dream and wake up knowing exactly what to do. These are not hallucinations. These are transmissions. Your higher self, your guides, your soul is using the dream world to lead you back to alignment. But the question is, are you paying attention? We need to stop dismissing our dreams as random nonsense. In a spiritual crisis, dreams are more real than this waking illusion. The world may lie to you. Your mind may confuse you. But your dreams, they tell the truth, even when it hurts. They don't care about your comfort. They care about your growth. And if you dare to follow them, they will take you places your waking self is too afraid to go. What would happen if you treated your dreams like sacred texts? If you read them each morning as if they were messages from the divine? What if you kept a notebook next to your bed and took them seriously? Not to analyze, but to listen, to feel, to follow. Because one of those dreams might hold the clue to your next breakthrough. One of them might be the map out of your crisis. But you won't know unless you start paying attention. Spiritual crisis often brings dreams of fire cities burning, forests ablaze, houses collapsing in flames. Fire is not just destruction. It is purification. It is your soul burning away everything false. And even though the dream may feel like the end of the world, it's actually the beginning of truth. When you wake from that fire, you're not supposed to rebuild the same life. You're supposed to build something new, something real. You may also experience dreams where time doesn't exist. You are in multiple places at once. You see yourself as a child and an elder. You meet people who haven't been born. You remember events that haven't happened yet. These dreams break the rules of logic because your soul doesn't live in time. It lives in eternity. And sometimes it gives you a glimpse of that truth to remind you that your crisis is not the whole story. It's just a chapter. And the ending has already been written in light. There is one kind of dream that rarely gets spoken about because it's so profound, so intimate, that most people don't know how to describe it. It's the dream where you meet yourself, not your personality, not your ego, but your soul. You look into your own eyes and feel an overwhelming sense of love, of home, of peace that shatters every story you've told about your worth. And when you wake, you weep not out of sadness, but out of remembrance. That is the dream that changes everything. In spiritual crisis, these dreams are not luxuries. They are lifelines. When your outer world is crumbling, your inner world begins to rebuild. And the first bricks are laid in the dream realm. Every image, every symbol, every whisper has weight. And you don't need to understand it all today. You just need to say yes. Yes to remembering. Yes to receiving. Yes to the mystery. So tonight when you go to sleep, ask your soul to speak. Ask your dreams to guide you. Ask for clarity, for healing, for truth. And then listen. Not just with your eyes closed, but with your heart open. Because your dreams are not just dreams. They are the sacred language of your awakening. If you've made it this far, it means something inside you already knows the truth. Your dreams are not random. They are a portal, a path, a profound dialogue between your waking self and your soul. And in the heart of a spiritual crisis, when everything you've known begins to fall away, your dreams become the one place where truth still speaks. It doesn't always speak clearly, and it rarely speaks in the language of facts. But it speaks in a way that only the soul can understand through feeling, through vision, through symbolic fire. There are dreams that come like whispers, and there are dreams that come like earthquakes. The whispered dreams are subtle. You're in a room, and a voice says one word. You're in a forest, and a door opens. You don't know why it matters, but something deep shifts. Then there are the earthquake dreams, the ones that shake your entire sense of reality. You wake up crying, gasping, unable to return to sleep, because something just happened that you can't explain, and yet you know it changed you. These dreams are not accidents, they are interventions. When the soul cannot reach you in your waking life, it comes in your sleep and rearranges you from the inside out. One of the most mysterious dreams people report during spiritual crisis is the one where they are given a name. Not their own. A different name. A name they've never heard before. And yet it feels like it belongs to them. This is not just a dream. It's a soul activation. Names hold frequency. In many ancient traditions, names are not labels, they are codes. They carry destiny. When you are given a name in a dream, your soul may be reminding you of who you were before the world told you who you should be. Have you written it down? Have you searched its meaning? Sometimes, in the height of our darkest nights, we dream of light. Not light as in sunshine or lamps, but light as a presence, the force, a being. And in those dreams, we feel safe, protected, loved in a way we didn't know was possible. That light may not have a face. It may not even have words. But it holds you. And when you wake up, you carry that feeling like a shield. That's not fantasy. That's contact with your higher self, with your guides, with the part of you that never forgot the truth. In spiritual crisis, you may also dream of yourself from the future. You see an older version of you, wiser, calmer, clearer. They don't say much, but their presence alone calms your panic. This is not an illusion. This is your timeline stretching open. Your soul showing you that the pain you're in now is temporary, that you're already on the other side. Have you ever felt that? That someone is watching over you, and that someone is you? There are dreams that are not dreams at all. They are memories, not from this life, but from others. You dream of a war you never lived through, a temple you've never seen, a love that ended centuries ago. And it feels real because it is. Your soul has lived many lives. And sometimes, when the current one reaches a breaking point, you are shown the others not for nostalgia, but for healing. Because there may be a pattern repeating, a wound returning, a cycle that your soul is finally ready to break. Dreams of flight during spiritual crisis are more than escapism. They are a message of freedom. When you fly in a dream, it means part of you is ready to rise, to go beyond the limitations you've accepted for too long. And yes, sometimes you'll fall. Sometimes you'll struggle to lift off. But the very act of dreaming flight means the soul remembers it was never meant to crawl. Have you allowed yourself to soar lately, even in your imagination? Another mysterious dream that often arises is the dream of mirrors. You look into one and see not your face, but something else. A stranger, a child, a version of you that frightens you, or maybe something divine. Mirrors in dreams are not about vanity, they are about identity. They show you what you refuse to see, what you've forgotten, what your soul wants you to reclaim. If the mirror shatters, it's not bad, it means the illusion is breaking. And that's what spiritual crisis is, the shattering of illusions. There are dreams where you are tested. You're in a maze, you're solving riddles. You're choosing between doorways. These are not just stress dreams. They are initiations. Your soul is being trained, prepared, refined. You may feel exhausted when you wake up, like you've run a marathon, and you have. In the dream world, you've been walking through levels of your own consciousness, unlocking rooms in your inner temple. These dreams often come before a breakthrough in waking life. Pay attention to them. They are signs that you are close. Have you ever dreamed of silence, pure, overwhelming silence? A dream where everything stops and you are just floating in a vast white space with no sound, no form, no movement? That dream is not emptiness. That is source. That is the infinite. That is your soul remembering what it was before the noise of the world. And when you wake from that, you may feel disoriented, but deeply calm. That dream is a gift. It's a reset. It's your soul breathing in eternity. Sometimes, in the most intense phases of a spiritual crisis, you may stop dreaming altogether. And that can feel terrifying, like the guidance has gone silent. But even that is a message. Sometimes the silence means you're being asked to process what you've already received. Sometimes it means your soul is watching to see if you trust it, even in the dark. The absence of dreams is not abandonment. It's a pause, a sacred stillness. Hold it with reverence. The most powerful dreams of all are the ones that give you a choice. You're standing at a crossroads. One path looks easy, safe, familiar. The other looks wild, unknown, maybe even dangerous. And in the dream, you choose. That choice echoes into your waking life. Because your soul already knows the path you're meant to walk. And it's showing you, night after night, what's waiting if you dare to say yes. You may not remember every dream. That's okay. What matters is that you remember the feeling, the shift, the sense that something touched you in the night. Because even if your mind forgets, your soul doesn't. It's recording everything, integrating it, guiding you even when you think you're lost. So what do we do with all of this? We honor it. We create rituals around our sleep. We set intentions before bed. We ask questions. We thank our dreams when we wake. We share them. We write them. We feel them. We allow them to shape us, because they are not entertainment. They are evolution. Dreams are the sacred language of the soul. And in spiritual crisis, when the outer world is chaos, they become the inner compass. They won't always give you clear directions, but they will give you truth. And sometimes that's more than enough, because truth moves you. It shakes you. It awakens you. So tonight, as you fall asleep, remember this: your soul is waiting. The dream is already forming. And somewhere in that dream, the next piece of your awakening is being delivered. Will you receive it? You're not just dreaming. You're remembering. You're healing. You're coming home.